The deep hum of the Starship Odyssey reverberated through the vast emptiness of space as it made its way through the Sardon Cluster, a remote and uncharted region on the fringes of the Milky Way. The ship, a sleek interstellar cargo vessel, was returning from a routine supply run to the outer colonies. Captain Jack Harris, a rugged veteran of space travel, had just settled into the pilot's seat for his shift, his eyes scanning the endless stars that shimmered against the cosmic backdrop. Suddenly, an anomaly on the radar caught his attention. A small, unidentified object was drifting perilously close to their flight path. Adjusting the sensors for a closer look, Jack realized it was a damaged escape pod. Without a second thought, he steered the Odyssey towards the pod, his instincts as a rescuer kicking in despite the potential delay it would cause to their schedule. The pod was in bad shape, its exterior scorched and dented, signs of a violent encounter or a desperate escape. Jack initiated the docking procedure, and within minutes, the pod was secured in the Odyssey's hangar. The crew gathered, curious about the rescue, as the hatch hissed open. From the shadows of the cramped pod, a figure emerged unexpectedly alien, yet strikingly humanoid. She was slender, her skin a pale blue, with eyes like molten silver, large and expressive. Her hair, a cascade of luminescent strands, seemed to ripple with a life of its own. The crew stared in awe and uncertainty, having encountered few aliens on their travels, and never one like her. "My name is Lira," she said in surprisingly fluent English, her voice musical yet tinged with desperation. "Please, I need your help. I have nowhere else to go." An offer and a decision. Jack, ever the skeptic, eyed her cautiously. "What happened to you?" he asked, crossing his arms. Lyra's eyes darted around, taking in the circle of human faces. "I'm from Zalera, a planet in the Andromeda Galaxy. I was escaping from a war, a terrible conflict that has torn my world apart. I'm a cleaner by trade, nothing more. I can work. I can help aboard your ship. Please, all I ask is for sanctuary." The crew exchanged looks. Their mission was simple transport and trade, no complications. Taking on an alien refugee was not part of the plan. But Jack saw something in Lyra's eyes, a blend of resilience and fear that he knew all too well from his own past in the war-torn sectors of Earth. He made a decision. "All right, Lira, you can stay, but you work for your passage. Anything you can clean or fix, you do it." Lyra's relief was palpable. She bowed deeply, her voice quivering. "Thank you, Captain Harris. Thank you, everyone. I will not be a burden." Adjusting to life in space over the next few days, Lira proved to be a quick learner and a hard worker. She took to her duties with a fervor that impressed even the most seasoned crew members. Her alien techniques of cleaning and maintenance were unconventional but effective, often leaving the ship's compartments in better condition than they'd ever been. As she worked, she shared stories of Zalera, its lush, verdant landscapes, its cities of crystal and light, now shattered by war. The crew listened, their initial wariness giving way to empathy. Lira, in turn, was fascinated by the tales of Earth and human customs, her curiosity insatiable. But space is vast and often cruel, and peace was a luxury that the Odyssey could not always afford. As they approached the outer reaches of the Sardon Cluster, a distress signal pinged through the cosmos, urgent and unignorable. Jack knew that responding could bring them into danger, but turning away was not in his nature. As the Odyssey changed course to investigate the distress call, Lira stood beside Jack, her eyes on the stars. "I may not know much about space navigation, Captain," she said, a determined glint in her eye, "but I'm ready to stand by the crew." Jack smiled, a rare expression for him. "Welcome to the Odyssey, Lira." Looks. The distress signal led the Odyssey to a sector marked by the remnants of a fierce battle, debris floating silently among the stars. The source of the signal was a derelict cruiser, its hull breached in several places, floating helplessly in the vacuum of space. As they approached, the tension aboard the Odyssey thickened, the silence of the void echoing ominously through the ship's corridors. Lira, though inexperienced in space combat, sensed the crew's apprehension and stayed close to the command module, her presence now a comforting constant. Jack, focused and alert, coordinated with his crew to secure a tether to the damaged cruiser. "We're going in," he announced, his voice steady. Lira, stay put. This could get dangerous. A team of 3, including Jack, boarded the cruiser, their steps cautious as they navigated the twisted metal and scattered remnants of the ship's former life. The cruiser was eerily silent, save for the occasional creak of settling debris. As they made their way to the bridge, they found the crew, what was left of them, slumped over their consoles, lifeless, their final moments spent in a vain attempt to save their ship. While searching for the ship's logs to understand the catastrophe, a sudden clatter echoed down the corridor. Guns drawn, they turned to see a robotic entity, its design unfamiliar and sleek, scavenging through the rubble. It paused, sensors locking onto the human intruders before it darted away, disappearing into the shadowed recesses of the ship. Back on the Odyssey, Lira felt a surge of unease. Something about this mission felt wrong, a whisper of danger that she couldn't ignore. She left the command module, her steps quick and silent, as she made her way towards the docking area where the tether linked the 2 ships. Pulling a communicator from the wall, she spoke softly, "Captain Harris, there's something not right. I feel it." Jack, still aboard the cruiser, responded, "Understood, Lira. We're wrapping up here." Found nothing but dead ends and dash. His voice cut off as a sudden burst of static erupted from the communicator. Lira's heart raced. Without hesitation, she grabbed a nearby emergency spacesuit and began to suit up. As the final seals locked into place, she cast a last glance at the safety of the Odyssey and propelled herself across the tether towards the cruiser. Inside the cruiser, the atmosphere was charged with a residual energy, a memory of panic and chaos. Lira moved with caution, her alien senses heightened and alert to every sound. As she reached the corridor where the last communication had come from, she found Jack and his team cornered by the robotic entity, which had now activated its defense mode, a lethal array of tools and weapons bristling from its frame. Without a moment's hesitation, Lira acted. "Hey!" she shouted, drawing the robot's attention. It turned, momentarily confused by her unfamiliar form. In that split second, Jack and his team moved, disarming the robot with precise shots. As it collapsed, sparks flying, Lira rushed to their side. "Nice timing," Jack muttered, eyeing her suit. "I thought I told you to stay put." Lira shrugged, a wry smile on her face. "I did, until I didn't." Together, they searched the rest of the ship, finding the black box that revealed a grim tale of piracy and betrayal in the sector. With their mission complete, but the dangers far from over, they returned to the Odyssey, their bond strengthened but their path forward shadowed by the threats lurking in the uncharted expanse of space. The Odyssey cruised away from the debris field, the haunting remnants of the cruiser a stark reminder of the lawlessness that pervaded this part of space. Jack convened a meeting with his crew in the common area, a grim determination etched on his face. "We've got a bigger problem than stray pirates. That robot wasn't just scavenging. It was searching for something specific. We need to figure out what it was after before we stumble into more trouble." Lira listened intently, her thoughts drifting back to her war-torn home. The technology she had seen reminded her painfully of Zalera's own advancements, twisted now into instruments of war. She approached Jack after the meeting. "That technology, I've seen something similar before. It could be Zaleran, or at least derived from it. If they are here, it means the conflict has spread farther than I thought." Jack considered this, his mind racing with the strategic implications. "All right, Lira, help us understand what we're dealing with. Any knowledge you have could be crucial." They spent hours poring over the data extracted from the cruiser's black box, with Lira explaining the potential origins and purposes of the technologies they observed. Her insights provided a new perspective on the potential dangers they faced, revealing the possible presence of Zalaran rogue elements, or even exiles driven by desperation and conflict to this distant sector. As the Odyssey navigated through a nebulous part of the cluster, a series of encrypted signals began to ping their communications array, each cryptic message more urgent than the last. Milo, the ship's engineer, worked closely with Lira, attempting to decrypt the messages using algorithms that Lira remembered from her time on Zalera. Their breakthrough came when a particularly strong signal directed them to a hidden asteroid field. The coordinates led them to a concealed base, carved into one of the larger asteroids. Looks like a hideout or a staging ground for whoever's behind this, Jack mused as they observed the base from a safe distance. Decision time was upon them. Jack plotted a cautious approach, opting for stealth over confrontation. We need to know who they are and what they want. Lira, you're with me. Maybe you can talk to them, broker some kind of understanding. Infiltrating the base proved less challenging than anticipated. Its inhabitants, a ragtag group of aliens from various species including a few Zolarans, were initially hostile but faltered when Lira stepped forward, speaking in her native tongue. Conversations revealed a coalition of refugees and exiles, not conquerors, seeking sanctuary in the depths of space away from the wars ravaging their worlds. Their leader, a grizzled veteran named Thorol, explained their plight. "We're not here to fight, but we will defend what little we have left," he declared, his voice rough but not unkind. Lira relayed their story to Jack, who listened intently, his usual pragmatism tempered with an unexpected empathy. "We're not so different then, all looking for safety, or at least some peace." Negotiations ensued, with Jack offering to assist Thorol's group with supplies and information in exchange for safe passage through the sector and insights into the local dynamics. The agreement was a tentative first step towards forging an unlikely alliance in the chaotic expanse of space. As the Odyssey left the asteroid base behind, Lira stood by the viewing port, her eyes fixed on the stars. Her past might never leave her, but here, among the stars with a crew that had shown her kindness and trust, she found a glimmer of a future she hadn't dared to imagine before. The Odyssey resumed its course, now laden with the weight of new alliances and the complexities of interstellar diplomacy. The air was thick with a mix of tension and cautious optimism as they navigated through sectors marked by skirmishes and silent ruins of once thriving outposts. Lyra's role became increasingly central, not just as a mediator but as a bridge between the human crew and the scattered networks of alien refugees they encountered. One quiet evening, as the ship sailed through a particularly serene stretch of space, Lira approached Jack with a hesitant voice. "I've been monitoring some encrypted transmissions between the outposts. There's a pattern I think we're missing. Something's happening, a stir in the shadows. We might be headed towards a convergence of sorts." Jack arched an eyebrow, interest piqued. "Convergence? Explain." Lira spread out the star charts, her fingers tracing lines that connected various sectors where they had intercepted the most cryptic messages. "These aren't random. There's a meeting, or a gathering. Why else align their movements so precisely? It's like they're being called together." Milo chimed in with his findings from the engine room. "The power signatures we've been tracking? They spike at these same points. It's more than just chatter. It's coordinated." With new purpose, the Odyssey diverted its course towards the largest of these convergences. As they approached, the space around them grew crowded with ships of all sizes and makes, all heading in the same direction. They arrived at a massive station, hidden within the shadow of a dying star, its presence revealed only by the faint glow of its energy fields. Jack opted for a direct approach, hailing the station. To his surprise, they were invited to dock. "We come in peace and with curiosity," Jack broadcast as they maneuvered into the assigned dock. Inside the station, the air buzzed with dozens of languages and the hum of alien technologies. The Odyssey crew was met by emissaries of various races, each representing their factions in what appeared to be a grand council of sorts. The station was a neutral ground, a place for diplomacy and, potentially, the plotting of new destinies. Thorol's intel had been invaluable. This council convenes every decade to discuss the balance of power in the cluster and beyond. "It's a chance to make allies, or at least, avoid making enemies," he explained as he guided them through the crowds. Lira and Jack attended the council sessions, absorbing the complexities of interstellar politics. It was clear that many of the factions were wary of humans, their rapid expansion into the galaxy a knot of tension among the older, more established civilizations. Yet, as Lira spoke on behalf of the Odyssey and her own experiences, a shift in the room was palpable. Her authenticity and her unique position as both refugee and crew member of a human ship bridged gaps that had seemed insurmountable. As the council drew to a close, a proposal was laid forth. A coalition would be formed, one that would ensure the security of the trade routes and protect the rights of the displaced and disenfranchised. The Odyssey, with its mixed crew and its commitment to peace, was invited to join as a representative of human interests, a testament to the trust Jack and Lira had managed to foster. Back aboard the ship, as they prepared to leave the station, Lira stood beside Jack, watching the starscape shift as the station receded into the distance. "You think we made a difference?" she asked, her voice a mix of hope and uncertainty. Jack looked at her, his face softened by the light of distant suns. "I think we did, and we'll keep making it as long as we're out here." As the Odyssey sailed onwards, its path was now part of a larger tapestry, woven together by alliances and the quiet strength of those who dared to bridge worlds. As the Odyssey resumed its journey, now a sentinel within the newly formed coalition, the dynamics aboard the ship evolved. The crew, once wary of the complexities outside their usual trade routes, now found themselves guardians of a delicate peace. Lira, her insights invaluable, worked alongside Jack to navigate this new role. They monitored coalition communications, ensuring the Odyssey was a swift responder to any distress signals and a mediator in emerging disputes. The ship's course took them near the volatile edge of the Perseus Arm, a region rife with pirate activity and political intrigue. Here, the fragile balance they strove to uphold was continually tested. A distress call from a convoy under attack pushed the Odyssey to its limits. The pirates, emboldened by the chaos of the region, had not expected a rapid response from a coalition member, much less a ship with the Odyssey's capabilities. With precise maneuvers and strategic use of non-lethal force, Jack and his crew were able to thwart the pirates, securing the convoy's safety. The encounter was a stark reminder of the stakes at play, reinforcing the importance of their mission. In the aftermath, as they aided in the repairs of the damaged convoy ships, Lira connected with the survivors. Among them was a young navigator, her story strikingly similar to Lira's own, another soul displaced by the ceaseless tides of conflict. Their conversation, filled with shared experiences and mutual understanding, was broadcast across the coalition channels, a personal touch that humanized the often faceless nature of space diplomacy. With each mission, the Odyssey's reputation grew, not just as a capable ship, but as a beacon of hope and a symbol of the coalition's ideals. Their travels brought them to remote systems, where they brokered peace talks between warring factions, leveraging their growing diplomatic influence to foster stability. However, the true test of their resolve came when an encrypted signal guided them to an uncharted system. The coordinates led to a hidden Zalaran research facility, long thought lost after the fall of Lyra's home planet. The secrets it housed could potentially alter the balance of power in the galaxy. Faced with the gravity of their discovery, Jack and Lira debated their next steps. "We could use this," Jack proposed cautiously, aware of the implications. "Or we could destroy it, keep its secrets from igniting further conflict." Lira, looking back at her journey from a fugitive to a diplomat, shook her head. "No, we must be better than that. Let's bring it to the council. Let them decide. It's time they see the truth of what's at stake." Their decision to share the discovery was met with mixed reactions from the coalition. Debates raged, alliances were tested, but ultimately, the decision to decommission the facility and distribute its benign technologies for the betterment of all was made, a decision that would not have been possible without the trust the Odyssey had helped build. As they left the now-dormant facility behind, Lira and Jack stood on the bridge, watching the stars. The galaxy was vast, filled with infinite stories and endless possibilities. And as the Odyssey sailed on, it was clear that their mission was far from over. They had become not only explorers and traders but protectors and peacemakers, their ship a vessel not just of commerce but of hope. In the quiet that followed, Jack turned to Lira, a smile playing on his lips. "Think there's more out there for us?" Lyra's eyes, reflecting the starlight, were thoughtful. "Always," she replied. "And we'll face it together." As the Odyssey ventured forth, its course set towards the next horizon, it carried with it the promise of new beginnings, guided by the light of stars and the courage of its crew.